What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of JohnnyVTV Live. Week 5 best bets with Andrew Caley. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Doing pretty well. Happy to be home for this edition of the show. Back in my element, and hopefully we can get you some more winners this week. The player props have still been going strong, so that's been a lot of fun.
You had enough of the road games, huh? Time to come on and play a home game.
It's only temporary. The wedding is in just over 2 weeks now, so we're running out. I'm running out of weekends at home for the next little while.
Word to the New Orleans Saints. I'm sure they were happy to get a home game back too.
Exactly.
So, dude, listen, we got a lot of good Week 5 matchups coming up. I mean, there's some stuff that stands out more than others, obviously, and of course, we're gonna get to our prop bets later. But before we go there, let's stick to the status quo. What stood out Week 4, or who?
A lot of things stood out to me last week. The Jets won a football game for one. The Bills continue to just throttle their opponents right now. The Cardinals took it to the Rams. The Seahawks, despite losing last night, recording this on Friday, obviously, Seahawks upset the Niners. Ravens bounced back with a big win over Denver. It was just a lot of almost surprising results in a way. And of course, the big one is Bill Belichick was able to contain Tom Brady. I know the rain had a lot to do with it, and the bad weather had a lot to do with containing him as well. But that was not the result that most people were going after. We were smart though with it. Yeah. And I laid the 6.5 early in that week, but a lot of people, yourself, was fading the Bucks in that spot, and it was easy money. It was easy money for those people who did. For the 7% of you out there who thought the Pats were the play. So kudos to you.
You know what? It was Week 4 was a good week. Week 4 was a good betting week. 9-3 total on the slate. If you followed on my Instagram account, actually, I tweeted all my plays as well. But honestly, man, let me start off by saying Mac Jones, he played a hell of a game. Even with I don't care, Tampa Bay secondary, they're in shambles with the injuries. Carlton Davis now, I think he went to IR. That's a bad loss. I mean, they got Richard Sherman. Obviously, wasn't in game shape, but you still thought maybe they would come out and sign Stephon Gilmore.
I thought they'd go after Gilmore.
I did too. He goes to Carolina. That's a big. Not only is that a big get for Carolina, but it's big because they kept him away from Tampa. That's
exactly. And it filled a huge need for them with what's his name getting hurt.
Let me tell you something. Yeah, no, absolutely. Let me tell you something though. Mac Jones answered the call. The lights were bright. The stage. This game was not about him, but you know something? He comes out, bro. 19 straight completions at one point. He was going tit for tat.
Terrible weather. Yeah,
terrible weather. Like maybe the rain helped them because it kept the game closer. But listen, coming into this game, we knew Bill Belichick was going to have something from him. There's no way he knows about this game for 18 months and doesn't prepare accordingly. Like we knew that. That's one. Two, the underdogs, man. They stay barking, not even just against the spread, but straight up. Another big week for the underdogs to come home. It's just your guy J-Lo at Covers. He puts us out every week. I look forward to his weekly report about how how all the favorites versus the underdogs are doing. By the way, after this week, they're 15-25 ATS. The home favorites, that is. So it's just it's outrageous, honestly. It really is. So I'm looking forward to more of the underdogs barking. I mean, listen, guys, this is not like a mirage. This is a pattern. This happens every year. You have to notice the pattern. The underdogs cash ATS over 60% of the time. It's just you got to find a reason. And I said this till I was blue in the face last week. You got to find a reason to back the dog. A lot of times these dogs are coming home and cashing ATS.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be interesting to see that we got a few big dogs on the board this week. You got the Dolphins are 10-point favorite, 10-point underdogs at the Bucks. The Lions are 10-point underdogs at the Vikings. The Giants are 7-point underdogs at the Cowboys. And that's a divisional game. Those games are always tight. Doesn't matter how good or bad one side is. Those games always seem like they come down to a field goal. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
It's so bizarre, bro, that this Lions Vikings game, the Vikings were 7.5-point favorites earlier in the week. As a matter of fact, on the Tuesday show, I put them in a 2-team teaser at -1.5. Now, with all these injuries, like TJ Hawkinson might be questionable right now for the Lions, so that might have moved it another 0.5 point. 2.5 points in a couple days. That's a big loss. Like Lions lost center Frank Ragnow, Romeo Aquara, their top pass rusher. So they're getting key losses at key positions here. So that's another big one. Before we move on to the rest of the week's slate, let's get a quick thought here. What was your feeling about last night's game with the Rams and the Seahawks?
It was awful. It was just I tweeted last night. I was like, "Hey, everybody, the Bengals and Jags was better than this." I couldn't explain the play calling in the first half. There was one point last night where I think it was 3rd and 8, and the Rams had the ball at about the 50-yard line, and it was just a straight handoff, like the
3rd and 10 draw play. Yeah. I almost threw my clicker at my TV.
Yeah, and it was just I just don't understand the play. Both sides had very questionable play calling, and it seemed like both Pete Carroll and Sean McVay were just hating on anybody with an over ticket last night, because in the second half, things kind of got back to normal. If anything close to normal happens in the first half, that game goes over, but it didn't. Rams covered, though, and they covered for the reason I thought they would cover. Matthew Stafford threw for almost 370 yards against their Seahawks pass defense that has not played well this year. And then we always get the crazy miracle comeback by Geno Smith. I can't even explain it, but yeah, it was. I think the Rams are, excuse me, even despite losing to the Cardinals last week, I'd still take the Rams as the favorite in the NFC West at this point.
It's music to my ears seeing them go to 4-1. Listen, like they rebounded off a disappointing loss against the Cardinals just a few days earlier. Then they go on the road to a tough place to play in Seattle, and they get it done. Listen, it wasn't pretty. Stafford did not look sharp early. He got his finger batted as well. Not as bad as Wilson, but he got it together, and he started making throws where he needed to. Thank God, finally, Robert Woods was involved. See what happens? The guy had 14 or 15 targets, 12 for $150. I mean, that's what happens. Cooper Kupp still 7 for 92. Like, these two can coexist. Stafford, I think, he keeps thinking. Listen, Kupp is a tough cover, dude. Kupp is a very tough cover, especially one-on-one. But listen, Robert Woods and Kupp are basically the same person. Robert Woods is the same thing. Like, they are interchangeable. I think Stafford was just locking in a Kupp because he had breakfast with him every morning in the offseason. So he just wanted to get his breakfast buddy all the stats. I think now finally you see what happens when the two of them are involved as heavily as they are. So I think this is the approach going forward, and it just makes them that much more difficult to stop, because even the first 4 games, LA, especially against the Cardinals, they were too predictable. Everybody knows they're going to Cooper Kupp. But now you start working Woods in, and listen, their defense did pretty well against Russell Wilson, when he was in the game. I'll say they did pretty well.
They're top heavy. That's their only problem. Like, they've got their elite talent is really elite, and it makes up for a lot of their other flaws. Like, Ramsey has been fantastic this year. He might be having his best season to date. And Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd just dominated that Seahawks offensive line in this game. So it was. I really like the way that they match up, particularly against the Seahawks, just in those individual defensive matchups. And Ramsey, it didn't matter who he was on. He was giving people a hard time last night. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, you know what? And they also have Darius Williams, I think he's got the longest streak in the NFL without allowing a 20-plus yard pass play, something along those lines. So he's, he's up there too. The only thing that aggravated me, statistically speaking, was the fact that Matthew Stafford drove them down the field on 2 very long touchdown drives, only for Darrell Henderson and Sony Michel to come up and just be a complete couple of mooches that take those tutties away from Stafford. Well, not only on my fantasy team, but building an MVP case.
That's what the Rams do, man. Though that's what the Rams do.
His stat line looks a lot better with 365, 3 tuds to 1 pick, as opposed to 365, 1 tud and 1 pick. You know what I'm saying? Even if he got one of those touchdowns.
I had Sony Michel to score anytime last night, so I was very happy.
Of course you did. Of course you did. Anytime tutties have been your bread and butter this year.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so that's the first week 5 matchup of the week. Which one are you looking forward to the most this one?
This week we got some really interesting games on the schedule, and maybe the under the radar interesting one is the Packers at the Bengals, wouldn't you say? Packers laying 3 points on the road, but the Bengals playing well. They got off to a really awful start last week against the Jaguars, but they put that awful first half behind them, and they took they took Urban Meyer behind the woodshed, and then he didn't want to leave Ohio. And
oh boy, here we go.
And no, I just really like the way that I really love Burrow's composure right now. They should be getting T. Higgins back this week too, which gives them another weapon. The Packers' pass defense is not good. Aaron Rodgers obviously has bounced back. I was wrong about my Aaron Rodgers is intentionally tanking the season to screw the Packers theory. But I was hoping so much that was true. But it looks like he's bounced back after that embarrassing week 1. Devontae Adams obviously killing it as well. But I really like this matchup for the Bengals. They just have a lot of weapons for the Packers to cover, and I think they can keep up. Maybe this is a game where we wait until kickoff because the Packers are such a public team, and we get that hook and we get the +3.5 there. Right now it's a plus. You don't think?
Well, here's what I'm seeing. I think on FanDuel today, and I've been kind of seeing this, and what worries me is there's sharp money coming in on Cincinnati, but then other people are coming in. So it knocked FanDuel's book, at least when I saw it maybe an hour ago, down to 2.5. So I was all in on the Packers -3. Sorry. I was all in on the Packers -3 this week. And now I'm starting to see the public money starting to trickle in. Let me double check here via the Action Network. The line opened at 6, and I really loved it. But 71% of the public is backing Green Bay. I really, really like Green Bay. But aside from the public, I could see why Cincinnati will be an upset. You think about, look what Green Bay's going through. Jair Alexander's out. Zadarius Smith is out. The rest of their defense is kind of hit or miss that you're not really those are 2 blue chip players on defense that make big differences. Usually one injury to a certain player doesn't make a big difference unless it's like an Aaron Donald or a quarterback or something along those lines. But when you start getting a group of injuries to guys like Smith and Alexander, then it becomes a problem. Now, Cincinnati, like you said, Joe Burrow has been composed. He looks good. We're gonna get to some prop bets in this game a little bit later. But I got to be honest, man. I was on the Green Bay for most of the week, and then probably later yesterday, after hearing my guy from a certain sports book say how much money's coming out of Green Bay, the house needs the Bengals. What have I been saying? When the house needs something, they usually get it. I'm gonna go Cincinnati +3. I think Joe Burrow is gonna have a good game. This could be a 3-touchdown game. Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins gets eased back into it.
I think they try to involve get the run game going in this game as well. You mentioned those big pieces gone for the Packers, especially Smith on the line there. That front 7 is not looking strong at the moment. I could really see them try to take advantage and control the tempo of the game with Mixon in this one as well.
There's a Joe Mixon TBD. Have you heard anything if he's going to be back? Tomorrow's practice is going to determine a lot.
Yes, obviously that would change a bit there. But honestly, we've kind of learned this year. Who's his backup now? I don't even know who the backup
It's
is.
Samaje Perine.
P. Ryan, old Sooner there.
Chris Taylor.
I think that, like, you know, I don't want to say running backs are a dime a dozen, but like they almost are at this point. And I think that they will try to attack the Packers' weaknesses no matter who's in the backfield.
I think this is going to probably be I would say 70-30 pass to run ratio for the Bengals. I mean, Burrow's your best player. They're without their best pass rusher and their best corner. It doesn't matter. Listen, Tyler Boyd finally got his breakout game of the season last week. They were going after him heavy. Jamar Chase remains the guy that's going to get, he's going to get the deep threats. That's who he is. T. Higgins is one of those guys too. But at this point, like, I feel like, at least in my mind, we could see T. Higgins be right now more exclusively the shot play guy. Jamar Chase is more consistently a deep threat, and Tyler Boyd is more of the short and handsomely intermediate routes. I think they're going to attack all three of them on Sunday against the Packers. Listen, I like Green Bay. It would not surprise me to see them win and win by 10 points. I really like the Packers, but public money, I got to lean the Bengals. We did the same thing. We did the same thing on Sunday night.
Yeah.
The same exact thing we did Sunday night. So, this is one of those that I think Cincinnati can cover, if not win.
Yeah, it's going to be, I'm hoping just because, like, a lot of the money for football comes in right that Sunday morning. I'm hoping, since Green Bay is such a public team, that we get that hook. But even at the +3, I like getting that field goal with Cincinnati at home.
Here's another interesting one. So Jamar Chase has 4 touchdowns this season. Do you know what his average reception is going for?
I don't know. Like, what is it, like 40 yards or something stupid like that?
Oh, no, not that crazy.
No, 20.
17.5 is his average reception. So, I mean, that's an absolutely outrageous figure. And, like, I'm just not sold that we're going to be seeing, right? I'm not sold we're going to be seeing the Green Bay defense, especially to Alexander, able to cover that. So when you're looking at it, Jamar Chase is 5th in the NFL. Now, guys above him are guys that are barely getting, targets, like Nico Collins and DJ Chark are on there. Now, Chark out with the injury. Quez Watkins is on there, but he's only got 14 targets. Henry Ruggs has only got 25 targets. So does Chase. But point is, Chase is one of the elite deep threats in the NFL this season. So that's a big problem for Green Bay secondary.
Yeah, agreed, 100%.
So, just to confirm, who are you on?
I'll take the points with the Bengals. Give me the points.
We're on the same side here. Over could be in play too. Just an FYI. I getting burned with totals. I don't really play totals that often unless something's super juicy to me. But totals are so weird because they're so dependent on game script. So I'd rather go with the straight line. Game I'm really looking forward to. Browns Chargers, man. The Browns
Good one.
AFC representative to be in the Super Bowl. Chargers are one of those teams that I've always enjoyed watching. Justin Herbert, that kid's so legit, man. I just can't get enough of Justin Herbert. He is sensational. He is awesome. I mean, the kid doesn't have a turnover in the last few games. And listen, you saw what he did Monday night, mostly in the first half. And listen, he's really entering the MVP conversation right now. And another big performance against a top defense, not only will be in the conversation, he's about to kick down the door to enter this conversation. So Browns are 2.5-point favorites on the road in LA. Over-unders 47. Spread, money line, I don't care. Who you got?
I'm also seeing the Chargers as 2-point home favorites right now, not the other way around. But I'm on the Chargers at less than a field goal. If you give me at home at less than a field goal, I just didn't like the way the Browns played last week. I really hated their game script against Minnesota. I thought that they should have scored way more than 14 points in that game. They seem to be phasing Nick Chubb out of the offense, and I don't love that. I know
Kareem Hunt, baby.
He's been playing well, 100%, but then they put Chubb in, and then he runs 3 straight rushes, 6 yards a carry each time, and I'm like, why? And seeing the way Baker's been playing this year is a little troubling at this point, and he's going against a really good Chargers pass defense. So obviously the Browns match up well because they can run the ball, and the Chargers don't stop the run as well. But I think what they'll try to do is sell out to stop the run in this game and force Baker to beat them with the pass. And I'm not sure if he can do that right now. And with guys like Derwin James, we've talked about him a few times now in this show, and he's just taken that Chargers defense to another level. And Bosa looks like he's getting a little healthier as the weeks go on. So for those reasons, and like you said, everything about Herbert, I love the way Justin Herbert throws the ball. We talked about Mike Williams a lot, and Keenan Allen there. Like this is a legitimate offense, and less than a field goal at home, I'll take that.
So we're going to disagree here. As much as I love the Chargers,
no, it's good.
I got a couple shares of my boy Keenan Allen. I got Justin Herbert in one of my leagues. I'm going to go the other way. And it's not just because, one of the reasons is because, listen, if I think the Browns are going to be a Super Bowl, this is a game that they should win. This is a game they need to win. It's going to be important because LA, as they continue for the playoff push, this could be determining seeding. Like, there's no guarantee right now with the way the Ravens and the Bengals are playing that the Browns are going to be the AFC North champion. So, every game's going to count. Aside from this fact, Cleveland's defense is probably by far the best defense the Chargers are going to face this year. And it's definitely the best defense they've faced to this point. That's number one. Number two, my biggest reason for loving this game for the Browns, if you look at the way they're matched up, the Browns have not run for less than 150 yards in a game at all this season. Not once. Every game they've been 150 rush yards or more as a team. The Chargers have the 4th worst rush defense in the NFL at just under 140 yards per game. Brandon Staley, their head coach, does invite the other team to run. But listen, they haven't faced a running back like Nick Chubb, and they definitely haven't faced a duo like Chubb and Hunt. So at some point, it's going to come back and hurt them. Now, with the news that leaked that Baker Mayfield is playing with a non-throwing, partially torn labrum in his left shoulder, listen, they might try and protect him a little bit more. So I think this Browns-Chargers game is probably going to be played a little bit closer to the vest. I could actually see this being a pretty low-scoring game.
Yeah,
I could see this being under 44 even. You're seeing 47 on the screen. So I think Cleveland comes away with a win, and they're going to rely heavily on the ground. I think Baker Mayfield gets held under 28 attempts. I think it's going to be probably somewhere in the ballpark of 35 attempts between Chubb and Hunt. I think they're going to go ground heavy and rely on Justin Herbert to get pressured by Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney. And just as a side note, the public is going 68% right now on the Chargers. Let's go Browns.
I can't wait to see the matchup between Rashawn Slater and Myles Garrett. Slater has looked like an awesome pick for them at this point, but this is obviously his first real test. Like, Myles Garrett is a little bit different level of competition. So if Garrett is owning him and pressuring Herbert and forcing him into some bad throws all game, yeah, that's a Cleveland win for sure.
Especially in the first half on Monday night, you saw the Raiders, who, by the way, one of the most underrated defensive ends, pass rushers in the NFL has got to be Max Crosby. I mean, the guy, he's a definition of what a scout would identify a white player as, like never-ending motor, relentless. That's what he is. Like, he's a lunch pail kind of guy.
Rat.
Like Jim Rat. That's what John Lynch always says. Like, that's what he would always say on a broadcast. He's relentless, man. Like, he really is a definition of high motor. A guy who I probably haven't seen that high motor is probably since Jared Allen. That guy would never stop. Myles Garrett, he's a much better player than Max Crosby is. But if you saw if you watch the first half of the game, especially, the Raiders were able to get pressure to Justin Herbert even without blitzing. Crosby was a big reason. Myles Garrett, and that's, that's adding in Jadeveon Clowney to command more attention on the other side as well. So I think, the Chargers could get pressured here up the middle and, anywhere basically, but especially on the ends with Myles Garrett.
I'm not going to be wagering a whole lot here. It's going to be mostly I'm going to make my little side bet, and it's going to be a great measuring stick game. I think it's going to be one of my favorite games to watch all weekend. So we can take a lot away from this one.
Yeah, for sure. This is going to be a low-key pivotal AFC tilt this week. I'm excited to watch this. This might be my game of the week here. I'm ready to be locked in. What time does it start? 4:05. A nice late afternoon start. Oh, love that, man. Love that. Oh boy. Last but not least, man, we have the game of the week. Sunday Night Football on NBC. Rematch the AFC Championship game. Bills at the Chiefs. Chiefs are laying 3. It was 2.5 most of the week. A lot of people buying it on Kansas City to get it up to 3. You could get -3 at even money, which is rare. And over under 46.5. Which way you siding with?
Okay, we talk about Kansas City a lot, and last week we talked about how they've become kind of the new age Patriots because they're so publicly bet.
Yeah.
But this week they're not. They're not publicly bet this week. Everyone's on the Bill. Not everyone, but the majority of people and the money right now is on the Bills. And I can get the best player in the planet at less than a field goal at home. Like, the Bills are a really good team. They're gonna make the playoffs. They're gonna give the Chiefs a run for their money. But if you're making me take a side in this game, and I get Patrick Mahomes at home at less than a field goal, yes, the defense is horrendous right now. They've got issues on defense, but that offense is still the number 1 rated offense in the league, man. And he's the best quarterback. He's not going to win MVP this year, I bet, but he is the most valuable player to any franchise in the NFL. And I'm gonna take him at less than a field goal at home anytime.
We're in agreement here because, listen, I haven't been a believer in the Bills for even last year I didn't believe in them. I didn't believe in them because they can't run the ball. Yes, they're taking a little bit more of an approach this year, and they're having some success. Their defense, I don't think, is that good. I think it's more everyone's like, oh, their defense is locked down this year. Like, bro, they played the Dolphins with Jacoby Brissett. They played the Texans. Like, come on, man. Like, give me a break. Like,
Washington and Pittsburgh. That's their schedule so far.
Exactly. Like, I'll be straight. Like, I had the Bills coming in for a big regression this year. I had them coming in at maybe 10, possibly 11 wins. Like, a big regression from last season. Now, of course, getting a butter schedule to start your year, it gives you a little momentum to get over. But let's call it what it is. Like, even Josh Allen had a major regression. I counted in the fact that Allen was going to have a major regression this year. People are like, oh, he's going to be the MVP. I'm like, bro, like, understand something. If Josh Allen had the insane year he did last year and didn't win, he not only probably has to repeat that, but exceed it. And guys like Mahomes, Rodgers, and even maybe a Kyler Murray and Stafford or Russell Wilson have to have pretty bad years. Like, if Allen didn't win it last year, chances are he's not winning it. Like, I didn't see it for the Bills. They cannot match up with the Chiefs. Nobody can beat Kansas City in a track meet. That's not how this works. You have to beat them the way the Browns are built to beat them. Keep Mahomes in the pocket, play good defense, run the hell out of the football, and limit the Chiefs' offensive opportunities. The Chiefs' defense, yes, is very bad, but like you said, I'm taking Patrick Mahomes with the 3 at home. Come on, man. Like, if Kansas City doesn't win by at least 7, I'll be surprised because at the end of the day, yes, the Chiefs are bad on defense, but if their offense is humming the way it did against the Eagles, finally got back on track and covered for the first time in 6 games, they're going to be hard to stop, man. I mean, if the Chiefs don't come out with 35 points, I'd be surprised. At least 30. Like, you can't tell me Kansas City is not going to come out here and work the Chiefs. I mean, let's call it what it is.
We mentioned it last week. They got off to a bad start. They had a bad start to the season, and then they went out and dummied the Eagles. Like, we were like, they're gonna go out there and they're gonna go trash the Eagles. And the Eagles kept up for a bit, and that was resilient. And Jalen Hurts has been impressive to this point, but at the end of the day, they had no answer for them. And I know the Eagles aren't the Bills, but this is a spot where I think another spot where the Chiefs show you, like, we're still the top team in the AFC, and you gotta take us down for us not to be there.
I think we saw this movie last year twice, where we saw the fact that, and I hate to say it, the Buffalo Bills virtually had no chance. You look at their two matchups last season. They won by 14-1, and then they lost. I'm sorry, what was I saying? KC won by 14-1. That was in the title game, and then in the regular season they beat them 26-17. Like, come on, in what world do we think that this is going to happen? I personally don't. I look back at it. I don't have it in front of me at the moment, but I think out of the last 5 matchups, or maybe the last 7 matchups, the Chiefs have only lost 1. And, almost every one of those matchups has been by 6 points or more. So virtually it's telling me, bro, like, the Bills aren't made to beat the Chiefs right now. Like, you're just not. Kansas City, hammer it, -3. Let's go. Caley, I'm going to dish it over to you. You got your player props.
Some player props this week. A little not as successful last week as the week before, but we still did pretty well. Corey Davis came through for us last week, was a big one. But we're attacking another. We talked about the Eagles a bit already. One of my favorite props is Miles Sanders to go under his receiving yard total of 17.5. He's going up against a Panthers defense that just gives up no yards out of the back, receiving yards out of the backfield to running backs. They've only given up 54 for the season. We've talked about how the Eagles just apparently hate Miles Sanders. They just don't want to give him the ball. Gainwell has been effective receiving the ball out of the backfield as well, so it seems like Gainwell is going to start being the guy to be the third down guy and catch the ball in the back, which I don't understand because Sanders is actually built to do everything. And he's a super talented guy. I know you're a fantasy owner of his and it's not going well, but in this
just shipped him off.
Just shipped him off. Good. Because we're going under his receiving yards total in this one. I think Gainwell's taken his work, and it's a terrible, terrible matchup for him. So under on that one to start. Another one I like this week is Ryan Tannehill over 240.5 passing yards. I think he kind of gets things going a bit this week, and I'm going to talk about this a bit more in my best bets, but he's got a really good matchup against a very bad Jacksonville pass defense. It sounds like A.J. Brown's back this week. I don't know Julio's status at the moment, but even with just A.J. Brown back, they're going to let it fly against Jacksonville, I think. And Derrick Henry obviously opened things up in the play action passing game because Jacksonville has no hope of tackling him right now. But so Tannehill over 240.5 passing yards. And the last one I'm on is Adam Thielen over 4.5 receptions. He gets targeted a lot by Kirk Cousins, who he's having a good year. As much as I don't want to admit it, Kirk Cousins is having a good statistical. I guess it's kind of the story with him every year is statistics end up being pretty good, but the overall performance of the team.
Put some respect on his name. What are you doing?
That's what I do. I trashed Kirk Cousins. But he's gonna receiving receptions in this one for Thielen 4.5. He has over 31 targets, I think he has 31 targets on the year. So he's been involved the last couple of weeks, so a little bit more. I really think they target him a lot against what is a Lions defense that just gives up a ton of yards all the time. I saw this funny tweet the other day. It was like the Lions are like second in the NFL in opponent third down conversion percentage, and that's only because everyone doesn't need to get to go to third down against them. Oh, it's bad. So anyways, just to quickly recap: under Miles Sanders 70.5 receiving yards, over 240 passing yards for Tannehill, and over 4.5 receptions for Adam Thielen this week.
Looks like some tasty plays, some good research behind it. I love the reasoning, and might tell you on them. So I got a lot of player props, a lot more than I had last week. I'm probably still going to add more. Don't ask me why I decided to go. I'm going nuclear on the list of slate. Like, don't ask me why. 12 plays last week. I mean, I had maybe 20 in week one. I don't know why, but in any case, Joe Burrow over 1.5 passing tutties against Green Bay. We just touched it. Like, Green Bay secondary is in shambles without Yair Alexander, no Zadarius Smith. And I think even with or without Joe Mixon, Joe Burrow loves him some passing tutties. He's hit that prop number every single week. Let's go. Next, we got Kyler Murray, the Rugrat, real life Tommy Pickles, over 284.5 passing yards. Last week we cashed on his under. But listen, let's call this what it is. Arizona's playing their arch rival, division rival, San Francisco 49ers, with a brutal secondary. I think this is going to be one of those weeks. I mentioned it last week. Murray's not really one of these guys that gets a ton of passing yards. He gets a lot of touchdowns, but I think we'll make an exception here. I think he's probably going to be in the 320 to 330 passing yard range. I really like this look. I think Arizona is going to feel confident off last week. Murray should be good for probably 35 attempts. I really like him to have a big game. Lamar Jackson, would you believe he is the only quarterback in the NFL this season that his passing yardage prop has gone over in every game? No other quarterback is 100% on the over in the passing yardage. I'll be honest. I'm tempted to take his under 227.5, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and go the over. Hollywood Brown starting to look much better last week. They had a good matchup against a solid Denver defense in the altitude. Baltimore's at home. Indianapolis is still pretty tough defense. So this is one I'm on the fence about, but he's over, man. He is due for an under, but I just don't think it's going to happen this week, maybe next week. Let's go, Lamar. Next, we got Brandon Cooks over 5.5 catches at plus 118. Not only are you getting plus money on this, but Brandon Cooks is 2-2 on his reception prop bet this year. The 2 times he went under, both of those games, he had exactly 5 catches. Going against New England, they're probably going to be playing from behind. I think Brandon Cooks getting 6 catches is a good spot at plus money. Jamar Chase, he's a big play waiting to happen. Over 62.5 receiving yards. Joe Burrow is going to have a good day. Jamar Chase is going to be a big reason. I could see Chase getting behind a lackluster Packers secondary with no Jair Alexander. And I think, we could see probably a 60-yard reception from Jamar Chase. He might get all these yards on one play. Got to throw an under in here. I can't go over on everybody. Under Miles Sanders, 48.5 rushing yards. Me and Caley are on the same page here. Listen, here's the big reason. Nick Sirianni hates Miles Sanders. He absolutely hates him. I don't understand it. Sanders has seen his touches go down in the last 2 weeks. And more importantly, in the red zone, Kenneth Gainwell's got 71% of the red zone snaps. Miles Sanders, 29. It's just mind-boggling. 48.5 rushing yards. Unless Sanders takes one big one away, it just seems like a tall task. He's on the field getting the snaps, but he's not getting the touches. It's mind-boggling. Listen, if Sanders gets himself 12 carries, which right now seems like a long shot, then sure, he probably gets it, but I just don't know about that. Caley, what is your best bets of week 5?
Best bets. So we already touched on it. The Chiefs make my best bets for week 5, minus 2.5. That's one of them. Another one I'm on is, I'm sorry about your boys here, but we're going Falcons under 23.5 on their team total this week. They're traveling to London. So very early. Did you hear when they left? Did they do an early week thing or a late week thing? I tend to, in these London games, side with the team that goes early in the week, adjust to the kind of pomp and circumstance, adjust to the time, and gets in there. The under has been the trend in these games overall. It's been a bit, obviously there have been some games that have bucked that trend, but the under has been the overall trend in the London game, and the Falcons just aren't looking up to snuff at the moment right now. And no, who's not. I can't name who's their top receiver, not counting Kyle Pitts. Who's the top receiver this week? No Russell Gage, no Calvin Ridley. I can't name the Falcons.
Olamide Zaccheaus.
I couldn't have even pronounced that if I had tried. So thank you very much. And they're just outside of Cortero Patterson. It seems like there's not much going good for the Falcons right now. And the Jets, the one thing they're doing kind of well this year is playing defense. So I'm gonna take the Falcons under their team total of 23.5 for this game. And my other one is I am hammering the Titans. I know this is it's gonna be a huge public bet. This is a big no for you, Johnny. But we got to hammer the Titans. They're -4.5 right now. I take them up to -5.5 because I think they win this by at least 10 points. All the stuff about Urban Meyer, and then you hear all these anonymous sources about these meetings. He came in and apparently apologized, and everyone's like laughing at him behind his back. Has absolutely zero respect for that guy. I actually did like what the Jags did last week with Trevor Lawrence. Ran some more RPO, got the ball out of his hand quickly. Like it was good because I think he's a good quarterback, but he's going to be better when Urban Meyer finally says enough of this and I'm going to USC or whatever he does. Right now, I am fading the Jaguars hard. So Titans -4.5. So we'll quickly recap. Titans -4.5. Falcons under 23.5 team total, and the Chiefs -2.5.
I wonder if the Titans are in back-to-back trap spots. Because
they could be.
I mean, listen, AJ Brown could return. Julio could return. It looks if I had to read the tea leaves right now, it looks like Julio's going to miss his second straight mouth-watering butter matchup in a row. And AJ Brown has a better shot to play. So if I had to put it on, it'd probably say Brown would be in, Julio would be out. But that's a double-edged sword because when you look at it, the Jags did play a solid football game on Thursday night against the Bengals. Like, let's not pretend like the Titans are that much better right now. So it either goes one of two ways. Based off the videos and all this stuff, they either get blown out flat or the Jags just, they pull it together and they come out with a big upset win. 87% of the public right now is on the Titans. But that's around in the same categories last week as the Jets. I'll say this. The public does have to win sometimes. They do have to win. And as for your Falcons team under, listen, the London games are weird. They left, I want to say they left Thursday. So yesterday they left. They were practicing today. I doubt they fly and practice in the same day, especially it looked like they practiced this morning, so had to probably have left yesterday. Calvin Ridley didn't even make the flight. I mean, we could get into the personal reasons. I mean, I have just a Hail Mary guess, but it's not important.
Oh, I want to hear it. I don't know the person. I heard personal reasons. I have no inside information. Let us.
I have no basis. I have no facts. This is a guess. I'm wondering, and people are like, "Oh, well, you said the Falcons are 100% vaccinated." I'm wondering if Ridley's unvaccinated because
fair enough. Yeah.
I'm not surprised if there's fake vaccinations. If people say they're vaccinated, they get fake cards. Like it's not the hardest thing to do. However, traveling abroad with that
internationally,
England's not one of these places. England, Canada, like you can say Canada is one of the places. England, like you don't want to start going international duels because you're going to get hit hard if you get caught with it. So if Ridley's not vaccinated, he opted to not take the flight, and it's personal reasons. Because what is he going to say? Oh, I'm unvaccinated. Be like, no, that's a much bigger problem. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Reason. But then at the same time, it's like the coaches knew ahead of time, be like, I don't know. I'm just wondering if it has anything to do with being unvaccinated.
I like that theory. I like that theory, though. I'm going to start peddling that around.
Next week could come out, like, God forbid, like, something with his family, like, not good. But I'm just saying that's a thought that I had. A friend of mine was like, why is he not playing? What's the personal reason? Was he unvaccinated or something? Because he's like a world traveler, so like he knows a lot about the travel stuff. But in any case, Teams in general don't play well in London. I hate the London games. I wish they would get rid of them, especially the fact that Atlanta had to forfeit a home game for this. So they get 7 home games and 10 road games. Like, give me a break. For the Gambling Guinea's best betting trends of the week, let's go. We got a 6-point teaser started off. We're 3-1 in the teasers. We got hosed last week. Back on it. Cowboys -1 against the Giants. Listen, the Cowboys own the Giants. They've won 7 of the last 8. They've put up 30 or more points in 5 of the last 8 matchups. I'm not saying to definitively cover the 7 points. If it gets to 7.5, I'd probably lean the Giants. But as it stands right now, 7 points, tease it down to 1. I like Dallas Cowboys to get this win at home. They're playing very well. They got a very butter schedule. And even though the Giants play pretty well on the road, much better than at home, same thing with Danny Dimes, I like Dallas to win by 2 points at least. Next, Minnesota Vikings -1.5. Mentioned this earlier on my Tuesday show. I worked it in my teaser. It was 7.5 at the time when I took it, so I got it at -1.5. It's moved up to 10. It's looking like an absolute steal. Your Honor, no objections. Now for the straight lines here, we got the Chiefs -2.5. I'm on board with you. We talked about it blue in the face. It doesn't hurt that Buffalo's also starting to creep up close to the high 60s with the public bets. I like Kansas City. I think they win by at least 7. Next, we got the Niners +5. What do I say? Always take the road team getting 5 or 5.5. This could be a prime upset spot for the San Francisco 49ers to beat the Arizona Cardinals, who are 4-0 at home. Trey Lance is starting, man. We could see something special from this kid. I like the Niners. Road team getting 5 or 5.5. You hear me say this all the time. Wouldn't you know it? Next game, Bears +5.5. Road team. Wow. At the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders, I think we talked about this last week when we mentioned the Chargers Raiders. The Raiders were getting very fortunate. It had to run out at some point. And Joey Bosa even came out and said, he goes, listen, when you get Derek Carr pressure right up in him, he doesn't like it. He kind of folds. So are the Bears going to take that similar approach? Now Matt Nagy's come out and said, Justin Fields, he's our guy going forward. Bill Lazor, he is the offensive play caller. Now that looks like a much better thing. I think the Bears also not only look good in the +5.5 on the road, but I think they are in line to get a nice road upset victory. Road dogs better stay barking.
Love it.
As we're wrapping up here, we have Emerging Player of the Night brought to you by Emerge Sports Group, our boy J-Hen. Andrew Caley, you got the pick of the litter. Who are you taking?
I'm taking Trey Lance this week in his first career NFL start, the former North Dakota Bison, North Dakota State, sorry, Bison fans out there. He did not look great last week throwing the football, but that doesn't mean he's not a great thrower of the football. I really think he could be a special player in this league. Really intrigued by this matchup this week against the Cardinals, of course. You touched on it a little bit there. I think he's got some big, he's got a massive arm, a cannon for an arm, and I think he uses guys like Debo to try to take advantage of the Cardinals deep, and then use his legs to make some big plays on the ground as well. Just overall, really excited to watch him play this week and for the rest of his career. So Trey Lance, Emerging Player of the Week. Good luck in your first start.
Love it, man. I think he's going to have a good one against Arizona's defense that really, to be honest, man, it's not that good. It really is not that good. With that being said, what are your final thoughts heading into the weekend?
Final thoughts. I just hope we can get some more winners in the player prop market. I'm interested to see. We got some huge games this weekend, especially in the AFC. We'll get to see who comes out on top here, and we'll have a real pecking order, it feels like, for the best teams in the AFC. The Chiefs, Bills, of course, and Chargers, Browns. Really, really great football games to watch. I'm excited just to sit back and see who's standing at the end of it all.
Yeah, as for me, man, I want to see if the Road Dogs are going to continue to bark. Listen, man, it's continue to fade the public until otherwise. Like, the favorites are going to win some weeks. The public's going to win some weeks. But listen to J-Lo at Covers. Andrew Caley works with him. He'll tell you straight up. He puts out reports every week on how the betting spreads go. And you got to stay with the dogs. They're hitting at over 60%. Next, I'd probably say I'm probably going to do a lot of just relaxing this weekend, maybe sitting home. I just started Squid Game. It's cool.
I
a
watched
lot of
it.
people.
I'm done.
The whole thing.
We'll finish the whole thing. Yeah.
All right. Well, I only finished episode 1. The one thing that kind of bothers me that like I can't watch any movie. The lip sync is off.
A little
Like,
bit, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just like I know that's not what they're saying. So it's just like that's all I could focus on. But like until they're starting to play red light, green light.
I heard that the dub is still like the translation for the dub is better than it is for the subtitles. Apparently, some stuff was lost in the subtitle translation, so the dub is the better way to watch it for us English-speaking folk.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know. I might go in on that for the rest of the weekend. Just binge watch and not talk to anybody. It's honestly it's pretty relaxing. Last but not least, Kansas City Chiefs. The Buffalo Bills are your baby brother. Put him to bed. Let's cover that spread. Oh my God, that could be in Dr. Seuss. Let's go. Hello. There we go. I'm gonna be like the new Dr. Seuss out here. So thanks for joining us. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at _JohnnyVTV. He's at _Caley. Don't forget, I got the rest of my Gambling Guinea weekly taste coming out. Maybe I'll give it to you on Saturday. Maybe, because we got that game on Sunday very early. Might give it to you Saturday. It'll be on my Twitter as well. I hope everybody has a good week. Mr. Caley, I hope you have a very successful betting week. Have a lot of fun. Enjoy yourself, sir, and I'll see you next week.
Sounds good, buddy.
All right. Take it easy.